Songwriter forum that I follow, someone posted, "Hey, new to the group, quick question. What's the secret to songwriting?" And I know that it's probably tongue in cheek, or but it just kind of struck me funny. Kind of like, what's the meaning of life? What's the secret to songwriting? So I did want to kind of take an off the cuff stab at it, just use it as a launching point for just like what I would tell somebody who wants to get into songwriting but has um, hasn't made any steps on their own. Like, what do you need to know? Like, what advice would I give you about how to start, what your goal is, etc. So, without further ado, what are those secrets to songwriting? Okay, secret number one: the only approval that really matters is your approval. It is common for novice songwriters and for other screenwriters, any creative person, to seek other people's approval, to ask, am I doing this right? Only natural, right? But the sooner you can embrace that this is a personal creative journey, that any kind of creative thing you do is a personal journey, and that ultimately the only person that matters is you. Like, your satisfaction in what you produce is the only thing that matters, and it's the only thing you ultimately can control. Certainly early on, you need to be really focused on what you like, of the decisions you try. What did you think worked for you? What was a step forward in your estimation? What felt good? What felt like something you wanted to pursue? Because what you're doing is cultivating your vision, voice, passion, and drive to do this at all. So that is the ultimate, that's the engine that's either going to make this succeed or fail with you, or be something that you derive, you know, pleasure, enjoyment, satisfaction, meaning from, is whether or not you have something to say and have figured out a way to say it that satisfies you. So that's the number one thing. If I could give you only one piece of advice, it's like, really focus on that. Okay, secret number two. Think about structure first and foremost. Like, be aware of the conventions for song structure. Be aware of, within song structure, the substructures that exist, things like your lyrical structures, your chord progressions are structures. Be aware of the way in which patterns fit together to help you kind of fill out the grid, fill out the checklist of a song that can communicate with people along conventional lines. Now, it's going to be a given that any rule you care to name can be broken if you want to. But if you're a novice and you're developing your voice and your vision and your passion and your drive, you should really answer that question with a lot of scrutiny. Do I have a really good reason to break this rule? Do I understand the rule I'm breaking? Does it feel so right to me that I'm just going to do it? I'm going to trust my instincts and just do it, no matter what anybody else says? Then go for it. Otherwise, get to know your song structures, get to know your lyrical structures, and use them to help yourself. Okay. Secret number three: keep it real, keep it relatable, or at least consider that. There's a temptation to write songs about things you don't know or didn't experience. Just kind of use your imagination. And I'm not telling you that you don't have a great imagination. I'm not telling you that you can't ever do that. And again, if you really feel strongly, tell me to go take a hike and go ahead and do it. But if you are struggling to get started, then what my primary piece of advice is: start with writing about things that you personally understand, that personally happen to you, that have a deep personal meaning to you, that can be a constant touchstone as you make the dozens of decisions you're going to need to make to get this song, off the ground, that you can constantly touch base with what did happen, how you did feel, what you do know, that you can use that knowledge and that personal reality to make what is hopefully a more relatable song and to get through the process easier. When we try to write song fiction, we are relying on that we have the skills to make all the other decisions independent of the subject, that we can sort of play around with the form, we can play around with the techniques. If you're new to the game, that's less likely to be true. So my advice is write about yourself, write about the things you know, write about the things that you feel strongly about, that you have some kind of well of emotion to draw from. Okay, secret number 4, building blocks. Always be working on building blocks. Little phrases, little snippets of, a turn of phrase, a rhyme you like, an idea for a title, some chords you like, a little recording on your phone of, a little thing that popped into your head to sing as you were walking around or in the shower or whatever. Like, record those things, write those things down, keep track of those things, amass those things, because oftentimes that's going to be how you get the job done, is to revisit those things, touch base with them, and start to cultivate them, polish them, turn them into something larger. I really like this little snippet. Where can I go from here? That's going to be your entry point into writing more often than I'm going to sit down and write a song about this thing. While it's true that you can be so inspired that something just comes out all at once, it does happen. It happens to me more often than not. If you're going to be successful writing the ton of songs you're going to need to write to get where you want to go as a writer, it starts with building blocks. So get in the habit, make a system, and just start amassing them. Okay, secret number 5. It's better for you to be prolific than perfect. You need to write more songs. You need to write more songs and make those decisions and go through the process. You need more repetitions through the process in order to start to develop that voice. That's the critical thing for you. And there's a temptation, especially with your first song or your first couple songs, to think, this song is so important to me. I've chosen for my first song the most important thing I can think of that I want to express, and it's not turning out the way I want it to, and I want to get it right. I want to perfect it. I can't stop you from doing that, but I'll tell you this, in my experience, you're actually going to end up writing that super important thing. You can write a song about that thing more than once. You can circle back. You can do it again and do it better the next time. But give yourself some practice with the fundamental skill set that you're trying to learn. Write more songs. Be prolific. I'm much more optimistic when I meet a beginning songwriter who says that they have 20 songs they've written, and someone who says they have 3 songs. And if someone has written like 50 or 100 songs, then I know that by that time, they've got some things figured out. They've got a voice for sure by then. I think back to, so I've written about 500 songs, and the 50th song I wrote is kind of the first one that I thought was something, when I look back on it, it's still one that I have some respect for. But I've come so far since then. When I look at the first 10 songs I wrote, I am absolutely finding my way through the process of making those decisions, the process of writing, of choosing words, of choosing music, of putting them together, of everything. So, write more songs rather than try to write one perfect song. Okay, the last secret I'll share today. In everything, be interesting. This may be of greater importance, an easier guiding principle, but than the other ones I've mentioned before, which are a little more into the practical side of things. But this is a really important one, and it comes back to voice. Like, in addition to being yourself, in addition to finding what drives you to create, try to make every choice you make in some way, in your estimation, by your taste and approval, interesting. You may or may not succeed in conveying that to other people, but if you satisfy yourself that things are interesting, good things will come. So that's probably a good place to stop here, and good luck. Get out there and write.